Good morning, good morning. And then you're like, oh my gosh, her place is looking junkier and junkier every day. No, today's practice is about props and modification. And I literally have every prop, including the ones he likes, I guess. Okay. Her place is looking junkier and junkier. There, we're all here. Linda, you're here. Yay. Alicia, good morning. So I know that it's Mother's Day, which also translates to Dog Mom's Day, or Cat Mom's Day, Animal Mom's Day. So everybody gets to celebrate. And it is Sunday, and Mother's Day. We probably won't get lots of folks in their feed because hopefully they're being lavished on and respected for the amazing women that they are. Good morning, Petra. So I know you guys see this gigantic mound of junk behind me. And all this stuff, I have a whole closet full of props. But these are the props that you're going to run into when you go to a studio or you need a prop and you don't know what to do instead. I have those. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have kind of a staccato kind of practice. And what I mean is we're going to do some poses, but they're not really going to flow because we're going to talk about a pose. We're going to look at some modifications for the pose, props that you could use. And I understand in quarantine, we didn't think, oh, we're going to be stuck in the house for 2 months. Let's get all the things we need. And you might not have had props to begin with. So you might not have some of these, but you've definitely been someplace where you looked at them and went, what's she going to do with that? So all kinds of props. And we're going to talk about them. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome that you planned Mother's Day gathering after yoga. That makes me happy. I did too, so I could be here with you guys. And I stopped seeing some people who wanted to see me privates. Most of the privates that I would teach would be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and they were at 9 o'clock. And I told them, no. I am dedicated to you guys until this is done, and then it might be 2 or 3 times a week that I air so that I can't go back to my privates, but I'm here for you guys for now. You are my priority. Well, good. If Michelle's still in the bed, then she can keep the puppies busy while you do your practice today. I really liked your big blue glasses you had on yesterday. Good morning, Molly. Yay! That makes me so happy. And give your mom a big squeeze for me. Good morning, Aunt Mimi. Oh, I'm so excited to see all you lovely ladies here. All right. You're funny. They are cheater pumpkin eaters. All right. Lots of folks are on. I don't know if Barbara's going to join us. Mimi, I went and picked up your fabric yesterday. It was ready for pickup. And it's super pretty, but I haven't received the other shipment yet. I'll probably get it tomorrow. Hey, mister, you're my most favorite prop, but you're going to have to go get on your yoga blanket. Go on. Go, go, go. Do you need to go get in your bed? I'm going to be super wiggly today. I'm going to be wiggly. All right, let's see. Oh, and happy Mother's Day. Yes, thank you very much. I'm a dog mom. Oh my goodness. No bites. No bites, buddy. You're going to be this way you are every time I get out the props. Come on. You going to come out here? Good, come. He knows I'm trying to get him out of the room so he won't leave. Come lay down. Down. Stay there. Okay, so today is about props, and he doesn't like this thing, so maybe he'll stay over there. Today is all about props and how to use them. And you don't, no. It's all about props and how to use them. So the one prop that we all use, or typically all use, is a mat. And that mat just creates a barrier between you and the floor, or it just keeps your feet from sliding. Beach towel works. I mean, mat is optimal because then that way you also have a little cushion, a little compression, so that if you're on a floor, it's a little more comfortable, and he is going to drive me nuts today. Go get in your blanket. You are full of malarkey this morning. I don't have anything. I don't. I know you know there's more, but they're not here. Okay. You'll be good? You're going to try. Good morning, Leanne. Oh, that's what I think about you. You're an awesome mama. I love your post this morning. There ain't no hood like motherhood. Love it. All right, so number one prop that we all use and typically have is the mat. So we're going to sit on our mat. We're going to get comfortable. We're going to do just a little bit of stretching here. So we're going to let that right ear come over towards right shoulder. Left ear, left shoulder. Back to the center. Get back. We let the chin come forward. We feel the back of the neck stretch. And this is where we set our intention. Maybe we dedicate our practice to our moms. Nice full breath here. I'm going to slowly lift the head. We're going to lace the fingers together. You're going to press out, lift up, and turn to the left. Tall spine. Now, when we have a prop, the prop is to aid us in some way. So it's either going to make those arms longer, the floor closer, to elevate, to lift, to extend, to release, any of those things. Left shoulder comes down, right hand comes up. Nice tall spine. We're going to open through side body, through the waistline. I like trying to take our Sundays and turn them into like soulful Sundays or self-care Sundays or scholar Sundays. And this would fall under the category of a scholar Sunday. Last week we learned about the yamas and the niyamas, and this is basically workshop style where we learn how to use the props that we have. And if we're at least not intimidated by them, or we can learn to self-modify instead of waiting for someone else to tell us what to do, we kind of understand the work of how modifications happen. And up. And back to the center, hands come out and up. And we're going to turn to that left tall spine. Good morning, Peggy. Good morning, Valerie. I hope Darcy's practicing with you this morning. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right shoulder comes down, left hand comes up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From there, we slowly come back up. Back to the center and forward folding. 1, 2. You found them, you little sneak. 3, 4, 5. And up. You have to go lay down. You gotta be good. No, lay down. Now we're going to change the cross of our legs. He is a pistol today. Oh my gosh. What is up with you today? Are you ready for these? I'll trick him. I'm going to make him go get in the bed. I know you guys love him, but he's going to drive me nuts. You want these? Oh, touch. Oh, okay. You want some more? Let's go get them. Here we go. Touch. No. Touch. You gotta stay out there, buddy. Oh, he tried to out-trick me. He almost did it too. Right arm comes down, left arm reaches. Nice big stretch. Now, here's the first place for us to try to maybe do a modification. A lot of folks, either due to arm length or this space here on the side body, that side body is short. So whenever you try to put your elbow down, this kind of happens, right? And we want to be able to keep that length in the side body. So we can use a block. So I have a block here that we can use. Valerie, look, I hope we're twinsies today. You can put the block down. And so this is going to give that support so that you can really feel comfortable with leaning like you're not going to tip over. But it lifts you up enough that that might help you get a little more stretch. So we can put blocks under the elbows. Nice long stretch here. 3, 4, 5. Slowly we're going to come up and then twist it through. Walk that finger through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unwind and lengthen. So we're going to contract through that left side as we come up. Maybe we'll move that block over. We're going to put that block down. And we're going to reach that right arm. So maybe this makes this posture accessible for you. You're still able to stretch, but you're going to lengthen down the side body. We're going to let that hand come up. We're going to bend through the elbow, twist it through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And unwind and lengthen. And up. Roll the shoulders back. Lift the chest. Open the heart. Lifting pelvic floor. And coming forward, hands come up. Nice, a big stretch here. Hands come down as we come up. Back to those hands come together. And release. And then we'll take a second. So that's kind of how this is going to work. We're going to do a couple of poses. We're going to add in maybe a prop or two so you can see how you can use them. And then we'll move on to the next thing. So obviously we've talked about our mat. Now we're going to talk about the mat later when we're doing down dog as a way to alleviate some wrist discomfort. But I want to talk to you about the block. This is that standard yoga prop where if you go to a studio, they may have they don't always have blankets, but they'll have mats and probably blocks. Blocks are going to help you make your arms longer or the floor taller, like we just did here, right? You can use them to sit on when you're doing meditation to elevate the hips a little bit. So again, this is just to allow you to have something of support. Because it's kind of chunky, you can lean into it and get a little more support. So sometimes when you're doing forward fold, you can put your hands on it so you can put weight into it. You can use it in triangle. Now, when we're teaching triangle, I really like to encourage you to use your body, because you may have gotten into the practice and thought, oh, I need something, and you don't want to get up and go and get a block. You can always use your shin. But these blocks come in different sizes, shapes, colors, and materials, which is something you might not know. I thought I had gotten them all out, but I didn't. I think I have some cork ones here. I could have gotten rid of them because I dislike them so much. Oh, here they are. All right, so this is about the size of all the ones you see in studios. Most of the times in studios, you'll see these. They're blue and they're purple, and they're not very tall compared to like this one. When you see them together, you'll see that this one's chunkier. They're still going to be the same size this way and this way, but the thickness changes. Now, this is some of the offerings that you can get. This is cork. Cork is really, really heavy. So it makes them where they're not convenient to put in your bag or carry around places because it's just so darn heavy. They don't have any give. I know you think, oh, well, cork will give. Yes, but not the same as the foam. Foam tends to be the least expensive, so a lot of people will have these, but these still can run $20 at Target. I buy them in bulk, and I still can only get them down to about $5 or $7, which is not terrible, but there's that. And this is a beanbag block. Not as great for doing like triangle or putting weight in it, but definitely comfortable for putting your elbow down here, especially if you have any discomfort in your arm. This is still holding my weight, but not quite as firm. So I've stacked them up here in firmness. So this is gonna be really hard, not as hard, super soft. Now what I like about having these in my studio, at least here at home, because these are also really pricey. If you put them, this is how they would go at price-wise. These can run $20 to $25 with no discount. But I like these because these can also, if you turn them sideways, become meditation cushions with this. I have like buckwheat in here. So that you can elevate the hips and sit for long periods for meditation. You can do that on this block as well, but if you don't cover it, your bottom kind of goes to sleep. So I like the diversity of that, but the humble block is typically what you see most times in a practice. So we just did this side-to-side movement with the block, and we used it. My most favorite thing to do with blocks is chest openers. So I'm going to show you, and please ask questions if you want to, of like where I go to buy my things, or I have a prop, I don't know how to use it. Any of those things is fine. Even if you wanted to post a picture in the comments, that's fine. Petra, happy Mother's Day. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, blocks at Five Below would totally work. They're going to be made out of foam, but they're going to be this height. They're not going to be this chunky. This is the 3-inch, this is the 4-inch, and this is that standard size, and that will be completely fine. I'm going to show you what I like to use my blocks for most, and that is a chest opener. Now blocks, like I said, really great for making the floor taller or your arm longer, whichever you choose to see. It's kind of like half full, half empty, right? And so my favorite is the chest opener. So we're going to set up for that. And if you don't have a block at home, that's okay. You can literally use a rolled up mat, a rolled up towel, anything that could go under your chest. And I'm going to show you that. So this is my favorite thing to do with blocks. Now in this particular case, You don't have to have the blocks be the same. But you see that I'm putting the foam block here and the cork one here, because this cork is so hard, I don't want to lay across it with my back. It's going to be uncomfortable. This is already uncomfortable enough. The soft blocks are pretty durable. What I like about this, well, you mean this block or this block? I'm just going to talk about both of them. These are easier to clean. It's foam. You can wipe these down. You can spray these with Lysol. This is a fabric, like a pillow. It literally is like a pillow. But the ones that I get, I got them when I went to North Carolina to visit Vanessa. And, you know, I'm not even sure if Carolina Morning is still open. But Carolina Morning is a small mom and pop prop, that's hard to say, place that's right outside of Asheville. And inside here is a beanbag that has the buckwheat, and then you can unzip this off and wash it. So I've had these probably 8 years, but they've been in my home studio. So they've gotten used, but only by a limited amount of folks and not daily. So this is probably going to be your most durable. This is going to be your most cost effective. But if you buy maybe one of these and one of these, you can maybe overuse one and let this one also be present for when you need to do meditation or rest. But if you're just trying to limit the amount of props you have, yes, this would be meditation and block, if that's what you're trying to do. So let's open some chests. And it is heavy, by the way. And they come in every single color you could possibly imagine. All right. So we are going to put this right under the shoulder blades. So that's right at the base of the shoulder blades. We're going to slowly lay over them. Now, as you lay over that block, you're going to have the second block. Just hold your head. That's why 2 different blocks didn't matter in this particular place, right? So you're like, but Michelle, I'm stuck at home, I have quarantine, I don't have a block. Chances are you probably have another mat maybe, or a towel, or a foam roller. So here's a foam roller, and you can use that foam roller here to also open, and you can take a rolled beach towel. All these stripes are fabric headbands that I rolled around this to keep them rolled up, and you still get to open. Okay? So props are great. They're not necessary, but they just add to your experience. So I want you to see if you guys can find something that you have that you can lay over so that you can have this little bit of chest opener. Nice full breath. We open through the chest. Find your breath. And this is one of those restorative poses where you want to stay here a long time. Really helping open the chest. So by flattening out those shoulder blades, we're causing this front part of the body to expand. So those pectorals open, and we may be spending a lot of time cleaning, caregiving, being over computers already, and then during this time of quarantine it might be even more. So we cause these front muscles here, the pectorals, to contract, and the muscles across the back body expand, and we want to add some balance into the body. So we're allowing gravity to help us open through the chest. Now what we're going to do here is we're just going to take that forearm, and it doesn't matter which way you roll. I'm rolling to the left instead of to the right just so that I stay on camera. So I'm going to roll over to the left, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a block, and or the roll towel. So I'm just going to take the roll towel because chances are that's what you've got at home, and roll right back down. Now as soon as I roll down, I can feel that work that we just did through the back body. So what are some other things that you can use the block or the towel for? You can put that between the knees, and when you hold the block or whatever you're holding between your knees, it's going to activate these muscles on the inside of the body. So these are the adductors, and you can press down and lift up. Try this. That's not very heavy, but like we had that one practice with duration where we just held poses for a long time and it got really, really hard. This is a lot harder. It makes more muscles activate. You have to hold that up, and it could be 4 ounces, maybe 16 ounces, maybe. But by the time you're holding it, it feels 16 pounds. Helps those hips align. Really gives you a place to focus. Works on alignment. 3, 4, 5. And slowly roll back down. Let's say you have a block and you were able to do that. What else can you do with the block? Well, with the block, you can lift up into your bridge posture. You can put it on the lower back, and it can help support you in this bridge pose. But the amount of pressure on the back of that sacrum can help you balance out the sacrum, can help you lift back body and lengthen front body. And with this particular block, you can get lots of different heights. You can come up higher. You can come way up here like this, giving yourself some support. And there's a pose that you can do called legs up the wall that you can do without your wall, where you're here, right? So you are able to keep those legs up because it tilts your pelvis back. So it's easier to keep your legs up. Just holding your legs up like this without this or the wall is kind of difficult. More muscles have to be involved. Here on the block, it helps them stay up, but it's a nice trigger and release on the muscles on the back of the pelvis. So those are also some ideas of what you can do with your block. Maybe you're making mental notes, maybe you're playing at home, and that's what I want you to do, to have more tools in that toolbox. So you're going to put those feet down, and you'll take that block out. Let's windshield wiper those legs if you're laying on the floor playing with me. And then from there, I'm going to roll over to my side and slowly come on up. So, foam roller. Not just for athletes, right? This is even a Guyam foam roller. I like to use foam roller to help release postures and to target spaces. So, my favorite place, I do need to kind of stack up some of my toys though. I have way too many out. So one of my favorite places to use foam roller is in side plank, forearm side plank. So we've had this discussion before about, does the block beneath your below leg help when you do the push? Does the block beneath the lower back help when we do the posture where you grab your feet? So I'm thinking that you mean happy baby. I really wouldn't use it during happy baby. Happy baby is more fun. Let's roll around, massage that upper back. But if you did the propping ourselves up on the blocks in the chest first, and then you did it under the back of the pelvis, and then you did happy baby, you're going to get such better results because you just worked that upper thoracic back, then you worked that lower, the back of the pelvis, and then you came into happy baby. It's going to feel really good, especially if you rock back and forth. You can massage the muscles on either side of the spine. So that's a good question. We practice a lot of times this side plank, and this side plank is a forearm side plank, and we'll lift the leg. So remember, I talked about when we lift the leg, we're absolutely contracting here through the abductors, but mostly we're propelling ourselves up off this hip. So when you lift this leg, bam, you feel weight here, right? It's because you're shifting your weight and you're pushing off. Well, when you lift here and then you lift, so much harder, right? We also want to be able to massage that side of the hip. So I like to use the foam roller in that spot. So I'm going to lift and show you what I mean. You can use a block here too. So you're putting your weight and your elbow and then putting this here. Now, the weight of my legs is resting on this and it is pushing into the side of my leg and it is hella uncomfortable. But I'm getting a really good release here and lift. Now, when I lift, it causes me to change where I press down and it helps you lift a little bit. It's a little bit of a practice. It's a release here. It's uncomfortable in the beginning, but you will get the hang of that. And then you can kind of roll off of it. Take it out. I need to do both sides so that I'm not lopsided. So you'd set it, and you can use a block too. So not that one. Ouch. Use this one. So if you're on your forearm, we can lift up. You can take the block and put it here too. We're just taking that pressure off this hip to lift. This is releasing the tissue here on the side, IT band, abductors, and we're going to lift this leg. You're really going to feel that work. It is triggers all the way, and it is a lot. 3, 4, 5. We're going to slowly put that foot down, and maybe you put your foot here so that you can lift and gently take that out. And release. I don't know if you guys are trying it, but I have so many props to talk to you about. I'm literally surrounded by them, right? So foam roller, really good for that, adding it in. Maybe have a particularly grouchy muscle, and you can sit, there's lots of videos on YouTube of how to use a foam roller. You will find them. A lot of times people do poses and they get cramps, so they just want to walk that out. You're going to put pressure on wherever that muscle is and roll back and forth. That's how you would use a foam roller. You'll see them in studios. I just wanted it to be represented here and show you how I use it most often. And I use it most often in a side plank. I also use this round one when you're practicing Eastern plank under the backs of my ankles so that I can roll up and roll down. Kind of helps a little bit. So that's how I've practiced with it before. That's how I use it. Maybe you can add it to your props. I love that everybody's telling me Happy Mother's Day. That makes me happy. All right, so we've talked about the blocks. I'm going to kind of stack these up and get them out of the way so I make sure that I talk about everything. All right, so we've also talked about just a plain rolled beach towel. That's something you have at home. I also like these whenever we need neck support. So when you're going to do some reclined work and maybe you've had some issues and it's time for Shavasana, but you're really uncomfortable, especially for people who are kyphotic, which means you get these people that have humps like this, and it's just their nature. Maybe they have some spinal issues that are being corrected. They're not ready to lay flat yet. And when you get people like that, they're laying like this, so their head's way up here, and they don't feel comfortable because their head won't go down. It looks like this because of that hump in their spine. You have this, and it goes in the curvature of the neck, right? That cervical spine. And here, those people who have that hump can have a little comfort. Now, you could use a block too, but this just sits in their neck. And it's a way that I also like to do Shavasana, just something in the neck. It's something that you can use to grab here. So a rolled beach towel, so much work. There are so many different things you can do with just that. And it's something you've got. So where am I going to keep putting all these things? Oh my goodness, all our toys. Ta-da. So we need to do another pose where we can use some props. So we're going to use the belt. So this is a yoga strap that come in lengths of 6, 8, 10. I don't think there's a 12. There might be. I think it's 6, 8, and 10. My suggestion to you is to buy them in 10 feet. Anything less than that is not just for grabbing your foot. If it was a 6 foot, this would be no problem. But there are a lot of postures where you bind and put them around or put them in your arms when you're practicing doing forearm stand or headstand to keep those elbows in. There's a lot of restorative postures where you put them around your hips and the bottoms of your feet. You can do Toy Soldier where you wrap it all around your body. And with Toy Soldier in particular, when I have on a 10-foot strap, my strap comes around and I can hold it right by my hips and I'm at the end of it. So I've managed to use that much wrapping. So it's better to have a big one than a short one and need more. And again, they can be pricey, but I buy them in bulk, and there's a lot of places like yogaccessories.com that have BOGOs all the time. So maybe a strap is 20 bucks, but if you buy 2, it's still 20 bucks. And so then your cost keeps going down. So what are we going to do with this strap? A lot of times when we do cow face posture, we have a hard time grabbing, right? Here we can grab. So let's do a pose together. And this is where you would use any old belt if you have it at home. A belt, a leash, a tie to your robe. You can use the strap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gently release. We're going to switch sides. So we're going to take this strap. We're going to put it over the shoulder on the other side. We're going to reach up, grab that strap, pull it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And gently release. We're going to roll those shoulders. So, fun and fun. That's the way you can do it. You can allow your arms to get longer. You can wrap them around and buckle them and put them under the bottoms of your feet. I'm not buckling them right now. I'm just showing you a pose. This is one of the poses that you can do. Really helps tilt the pelvis forward. So it can help you with binding, where you're going to be here for a while. In this pose too, you would probably put some blocks under your knees so that you don't go down too far if you don't have that flexibility. Lots of great things. Again, with the strap, you're making your arm longer or you're binding. That's typically what you're going to use your strap for. So we'll go ahead and put that down. Good morning, Frank. Thank you for Happy Mother's Day. Will you please let Marsha know I said Happy Mother's Day? All right. A little coffee. Now, we are going to practice working on our down dog. When we do down dog, most folks in the beginning have a real issue with their hands and their wrists because they're not used to holding weight, they're not used to stacking, and eventually that does get better. As the muscles in the wrists get stronger, the palms get stronger, forearms, you get more flexible, you stack the bones better, it does feel better. Even if you have carpal tunnel and you've done hand key and banking your whole life, it does get better. But what can you do until it does? These, you don't see these much anymore. I have one that I got back in like 2004, 2003 when I first started teaching, and it's a wedge. So I'm going to show you from the side. You can see that there's a little angle here, and this is foam. It's the same material as like this block and most of the yoga blocks that you'll see in studios. And this was so that you can put your palms on them and down dog. So let me show you that. By it being foam on top of a sticky mat, it doesn't slide. See how that kind of sticks in? And so what you do here is you'll put your palms on this and press back. So you see that it's changing that rotation of my wrists and my hands. I'm going to bend those knees because if I was a beginner, that might be how this would be, right? Releasing those knees, allowing my back to be super long. And this foam, not slipping on my mat, changing the rotation of my wrist, is going to make it where my down dog is a little doable. This is kind of hard to travel somewhere, kind of hard to stack. I got it because I always try to get props and try them out so I can give you guys reviews. I don't feel like I should be able to give an opinion if I haven't tried them. Not a fan. I still have it, but that's what it's used for if you see one. I'm sure you could use it for other things like sitting on it to tilt the pelvis, but that's what we used it for in the studio when I first started. But what I prefer is just a cheap, squishy yoga mat. So this is what this looks like. This gives you a little more cushion. That's still kind of firm, but also with this, because it's round, you can claw it a little bit and you get a little more support. So you put those hands down, and this is how I like to use this extra mat for down dog. So this is if your wrists are bothering you. You're going to grab that mat, roll it up, use that. You're able to elongate. Nice work here. Now, what's so nice about using this, even the wedge too, but with the mat, is you don't have to use it under your hands. You can move it back here and move it under your feet. So a lot of times when we're in that down dog, that feeling is trying to push those heels down towards the floor. They never really touch. They kind of graze. You're trying to elongate. If they touch, you need to maybe spread out a little bit. So there's always that work. But feeling as if you can press down on something really helps you lengthen out. So you push under your heels. It's a nice work in the arch of your foot as you push those heels back. So I like using them here as well. And then gently we can release. So, rolled up yoga mat can be maybe the old one. Maybe you got a new one and the other one kind of had holes and it had been nicked or whatever. Use that. And you can put it under your wrists, you can put it under your feet to give you a little more work. Now, there's another way that you could use it, and that's to help you with your spine. I prefer to use a blanket for that, which I'm going to show you in a second. But you can use it when you come into Shavasana. And it gives pressure on the spinal column, and it helps the chest open, and the body kind of spills over that mat. It gives you support. It's really nice feeling in your Shavasana. So that's another option for you. Maybe just something you hadn't thought about before. And again, your props are only limited to your creativity, truly. I'm just trying to let you know what they're used for most often. And then we're going to go over onto our forearms, because I just showed you down dog. So I'm going to show you forearm dolphin. So with dolphin, your arms are here, your legs are up, and you're working on this movement, right? So you're on the elbows. Well, what else happens with your elbows? Well, we have headstand, we have forearm stand, we have a lot of those things. And especially in forearm stand, which is not my best posture, especially without the wall, so I'm not going to do that here, but we can practice it in dolphin. Yoga Toes, which is a company, imagine more companies than just Yoga Toes make it. Yoga Toes is that company that makes the little socks with the grippies to help you grab onto the mat. They make this elastic strap. So that's all this is. It's just fat elastic with a belt on it. Or what do you want to call it? It's not a, it's a buckle. that's the right word, and a slide so you can adjust it. It's really wide, and it's for going onto your forearms. So you have a little support, but it does not give you that claustrophobic binding feeling that the strap does. Because this does have a little give, you feel like you could dump out of it. I get claustrophobic like that, so I don't like having the belt right up in my face where I feel like I can't move. But this gives me just enough support and tactile reminder of how to keep my elbows in. So it changes how my dolphin looks. So with the strap around the elbows and that little bit of elasticity, it's reminding me how to keep my elbows in place, right? And if it's in my face, it doesn't bother me because it's elastic, right? It's really, really good, especially when you start working on forearms. So when you start working for that forearm stand and you have those hands apart, you can practice coming forward and back. And that band gives you that little bit of security that your elbows aren't going to slide out. A lot of folks also will use it to practice crow because it keeps those elbows in place. I'm not used to doing it there. Wow, that band really makes a difference here. So there's lots of things that you can do with this strap. I only have one. I keep it in my basket here at the home studio. But if you feel like the elbow sliding out is an issue that you have, you'd like to try it out, that's what this does. Oh my gosh, we have so many things to cover. Let's see, what would be good work next? We've done some forearm work. Let's talk about back bending. So you can use the ball to help you with back bending. A lot of times with back bending, it's shoulder rotation that keep people from getting into a full back bend. Being able to get their arm behind them and be able to press and lift up. Now, a lot of times in the studio, if I help somebody lift up, if I help them over that first 6 inches of lift or 8 inches of lift, then they can straighten their arms and come into a back bend majority of the time. And it's due to shoulder rotation. But you want to feel that back bend. You want to feel that openness in the chest and through the belly. A exercise ball is a wonderful way to do that. And how would you do that? You're just going to get it up behind you, and you're going to get some movement and roll over it, right? If you can put your arms over, you can try that. Nice work for your back bend. Now notice that I'm keeping it here, my thoracic back. My lower lumbar already bends back. So I don't need to make it bend back anymore because it already does this. This thoracic body and this lack of rotation in shoulder is where you should work. So it should be here. This is what you already do. Here is where's the best place to keep it, right? Maybe you want to experience the whole back bend and you just needed your body to be lifted. In that case, you can come all the way over, put those hands down. I have way too many props for you guys today. Put those arms down, and then you can lift up off the ball. But try to keep some of your body on the ball so that it doesn't roll away so you can roll back down. Rolling back down and release. This is also what I like to use to practice coming into handstand to build the core through back body and through front body. Let me show you here. Normally we would come up onto a wall, which we don't have right here right now. Holy smokes, I have so many toys. I am blessed. So for that practice, you would put that underneath those legs. And so if you're working on your handstand, it's going to be this lift here. And then you'll practice rolling back. So if you come to my studio, you'll know that as you're getting ready for handstand, this is a work that I will give you. So that eventually you can use 2 legs to get up onto the wall. It's a lot of work. It definitely gives you good payoff for that work. But this is how I use the exercise ball in the studio. Of course, you could do abs and things like that on it, but that's not something I do in the studio. Let's move this out of the way. Oh my goodness. So many toys, so little time. All right. Here is another prop that you'll find in the studio. This is a Limitless Wheel. They have all different kind of brand names, but basically it's still the same thing. So it's like a PVC pipe that has like a yoga mat on the outside. A lot of people stand on it and practice balance. I would never do that in a studio setting where there's a lot of people. If you want to have a personal practice where you do that, that's great. I use this for back bending, for getting my thoracic back open. So it's just what I did on the exercise ball, except this is much stiffer. So I can practice leaning here, right? And just kind of rolling over it. Really nice for that upper body. Working through here. Really, really firm. And it isolates right down that channel of the spine. So it really helps with the back and releasing those tissues in that thoracic spine. And you'll find those a lot of times too in several studios. I like this, but honestly, here at the house, I put the exercise ball in it to keep the exercise ball from rolling away. That's how I use it, but I wanted you to see it and know that it's really great for your lower back. It helps with that back bending. And wonderful work here. So what else do we have? This is a yoga towel or a yoga blanket. This is much more of a yoga blanket than towel. But when I say blanket, not like that blanket. This type of material, this is all cotton based here. And this is hand woven in India. It's from my friend's studio in Orlando. And this is my personal one that I use when I go there. It's typically for folks that are really sweaty. Back in the day, when yoga was really getting big, we didn't have the sticky mats like we have now. And a lot of the yoga was practiced on mats like this. Now, this one I like a lot better than a towel because it's denser. And I find that if you put a towel down, it kind of wrinkles and kind of walks around. Every time you move, your toes will grab it and it'll wrinkle. Now, in this current state of non-sweaty and non-wet, I find that I slip all over it. But when I'm doing Ashtanga, or if I'm doing Bikram or hot yoga where I am going to sweat a bit, this, as soon as it gets a little damp, is so much more grippy than your mat. Because when you get sweaty, your mat kind of turns into a slip and slide. This is very good for absorbent. I prefer a rug. This is called a yoga rug. Versus the towels. There's a lot of, Manduka makes them, Yoga Toast makes them. They have the little grippy dots. But they're just so thin with those microfiber that every time I lift my foot, it either sticks to my foot or it wrinkles up. I prefer something heavier, but you can do whatever makes you happy. You can find these online too. And if you have any questions of where you might want to find these, just let me know. How are we doing on time? Holy smokes. Good morning, Michelle. Oh, you wish you had kept the ball. I have a bunch. I can bring you one. All right, so we also have this fun thing. I want to go ahead and show this to you so I can then get it out of the way. So this is the yoga lift. And the yoga lift is what's really nice for doing headstand. Sorry that I'm going a little quickly here. We're running out of time. I wanted to be able to do more postures with these props and modifications, but I just have so many props. Headstand. A lot of people feel like they don't want to do headstand because they don't want to put pressure in their neck, because they've had injuries before. Ideally, if you're doing your headstand properly, there is no weight in your neck or on your head, because your shoulder girdle and your arms are strong enough and stacked correctly that you have these elongation through the shoulder, and your head and your neck barely touch the floor. But that takes a little practice. This is going to give you the opportunity to practice, to be upside down and do it safely until you can get there. So this lift, you put your head in, you slide all the way back. You have the handles here. So now, not just the strength of your body to lift you up, but your arms can help you lift too. And you're able to lift up. So it gives you that opportunity to be upside down. The neck can elongate. Gravity's pulling it down, so it puts space in the vertebrae. The head is free to move around. Gives you a little more confidence to practice. You can work on those QLs, the back body, the core, whatever it is that you need, release out of it. Now, what I like about this particular one is it has pins here, and it'll go flat. You can slide it under a bed or slide it in a closet if you want to. Mine stay open all the time because we use them here at the studio. But that is a yoga lift. Kind of looks like a potty chair, and affectionately, that's what we call it at the studio, is go get the potty chair, because, you know, that's what it looks like. Let's move this off to the side too. All right, so now we're getting down to my favorite parts, the relaxation. So before I sit down, I want to show you the humble tennis ball. Wonderful for your feet. Just massaging and releasing the tension in your feet. So what's really interesting, I like using a lacrosse ball, which is harder than a tennis ball, but not quite as hard as a racquetball. By just doing this and massaging the muscles in the bottoms of my feet through that plantar, if you do just one foot and put your feet together and then lean forward, you're going to feel lopsided, because this leg will feel like it has more flexibility. And what we're doing is, let's say your hamstrings are tight. Well, then we're going to make everything below the hamstring longer to kind of give you some slack in the hamstring. Or we're going to work through your back body here to make some slack here in that yoga practice, right? So we also want to get good blood flow to our feet. We want to feel grounded and connected when we do postures. A lot of people have plantar issues now because of the shoes that they wear, and they don't go barefoot often. They're not exercising their feet. And that's just the world that we're currently living in. It's not that they're slackers or anything like that. It's just, it happens. Well, these are things that we can do to alleviate that. Oh, feels so good. Now we're going to make it down to the floor. Oh my gosh, I've talked your heads off. So, blankets. Here is the yoga blanket. You'll see this in most studios. This is a cotton-based Mexican blanket. They're typically, I mean, if you go to buy them online, they'll list them anywhere from $15 to $20. But again, yogaaccessories.com, which they are not sponsoring this video. I wish they were. Almost all this stuff is from them anyway. If you do BOGO, you can end up getting them for like $8, $7. No big deal. I have a wool one, which is typically the Guyam kind, and they're really dense because they're wool. But I am allergic to wool, like bad. Like I touch it and it looks like the burn that's on my arm. So in the studio, I have cotton-based items because I'm allergic to wool. That's the only reason why I don't use them. But just to let you know that somebody in your household or in your studio might be allergic to wool, so cotton's typically a safe bet. So I'm going to take these blankets and stack them up. So what are blankets good for? Obviously, if you're cold and Shavasana, that will work. It's good to go under your knee on your blanket if you have some tenderness. You can fold these like blanket origami to do all kinds of things. Now, I've stacked these up because this is a really good way to practice your shoulder stand, which I will do now just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. So that same thing in headstand where people felt like their neck was compromised in headstand. They absolutely feel like their neck gets compromised in shoulder stand because your chin is like this. Now, the shoulder stand is much more attainable as an inversion than headstand is. There's not as much balance because you have more surface area on the floor. Well, I say that, but that's not really true. The way that your body is set up, you have a little more stability. So when you lay down here, I'm just going to kind of show you from the side. When you lay down on these blankets, you're going to want to have enough space. And again, if you haven't ever done shoulder stand, you know, I would really say use the wall, wait until you have a teacher. Don't try to do it if you've never done it before. But if you do have it and it's uncomfortable or you want to try to level up your practice, this is a way to do that. Notice that right now I can slide my hand under my neck, where if these blankets were here, I would just be flat on the floor. So that gives my neck some more space. It's also going to give my shoulders some cushion. Now, I will tell you that now you start having this negative drop here, more space that you have to try to get your tuchus over your head, right? And so you'll come over and notice that my shoulders don't roll off. They roll right to the edge. You'll bring those elbows in and lift up. Now notice that you can see under my neck, I have space. My chin's not jammed into my chest. Is it near my chest? Yes, but I'm not smothered by it. This gives you some elevation, it gives you some support, and that's another good way to use a blanket. Elevation and cushion, and if you're cold. Earlier, I showed you with a rolled mat, a good way to come into Shavasana. I like to take my blanket like this, so it's folded in half. We fold it 6 inches or so. And just like you were a little kid and you made a fan out of paper at home, you're going to do that same thing here, but with the blanket. All right, so it looks like this, like an accordion. All of the ties are at one end, a folded edge at this other end. I really, really like this. This is a way to do Shavasana, especially if you don't have bolsters, but you want a little extra in your Shavasana. So you're going to put this blunt end against the back of the pelvis. So you're going to bring that in. You can slowly lay back. Just this feels good, but wait, there's more. You can take this fluffy end here and you can start to roll it in. Right into the back of the neck, and bada bing, there you go. So that's a really, really good posture that you can practice. Makes me just want to kind of hang out here. Now, we're going to talk about bolsters. I know I'm running over. Oh, it's right at an hour. All right, we're doing not too bad. So we have different kinds of bolsters. We have these round ones. This is the deluxe one. It's super big, super heavy. This is my personal one, so it has embroidery on the end. And then we have these flat rectangular ones. And again, with bolsters, it's typically preference. With these, I like these for twists. So you can turn and recline on them this way. Bolsters are to give us support, comfort and support. They're going to help provide some ease in the body. When we have some ease, we tend to surrender. And instead of being on that fight or flight, which typically happens in a pose if the pose is hard, if our muscles are tight, and give us some feedback of being, I'm uncomfortable, I am angry, I am tight, telling it, oh, it's okay, just surrender. It's going to be like, yeah, right, you surrender. But when you're reclined and you're laying down and it sends those signals to the parasympathetic nerves, it's like, it's okay, relax. It starts to be like, are you sure? And then the muscles start to soften. And so that's what those really nice things are about the bolsters. It also can change and push our bodies in different shapes so that we can relax. So you can also put bolsters under the knees. Most folks like to have this bolster under their knees because of the shape of it and the triangle of the leg. Really nice posture here. So you can use bolsters for lots of different things. But in the studio, this is typically how you'll see it. But they do come in smaller sizes. This one's a little smaller. They even make them down to really, really small so that you can sit like this for long periods of time. So one of our best accessories or props is a wall. Using a wall to stand on to grab for balance. Using a wall to grab for a headstand to catch you. But there's also the understated chair. Okay? So chair is always good. So let me give you some little bit of tips with the chair. Try to always keep legs on the mat if you can help that. At least two legs so that it doesn't slide on you. So if, for example, here, if I'm going to do down dog on this one, the chair slides. Versus if I had two here, it's harder to slide. It'll help you be mindful. So this is really good for balance. You can do posture sitting in the chair. Maybe you have somebody who has a hard time getting up and down off the floor. Then put them in the chair. You don't have to do a stand. You don't have to get up and down off the floor. You just need to move your body. You need to breathe. You need to be present. That's all that you need for a yoga practice. This is also very good when you want to do some elevation for those legs. This is also very good. Helps the lower back be flat, helps you lift. If you're in a place where you can grab, you can work on getting up into your shoulder stand and just practice like this. There's lots of different things that you can do with the chair. So I like folding chairs in the studio because that way they can condense, but you don't have to have a folding chair. It could be something that you can move onto your mat. All right, we're getting to the goodie. Meditation. This is a zabuton. This is typically not used by itself. This typically has a zafu on top of it. And this is for seated meditation, long periods of meditation. So this particular, I have two of these. I have one that's got a really dense filler in it, like a bamboo filler, but this one's buckwheat and this one just has a cotton fill in it. Why like this? Well, you're going to sit up here. You're going to sit comfortably like this. And it helps you set up for meditation so that you can sit for long periods of time. Now, by having your hips up, it opens here through the creases of the legs. It allows blood flow to come through, getting really good circulation into the legs. But if you're sitting right on the floor, then those ankles or those feet are pressing down to the floor and they may go to sleep. So this gives them a little cushion on the floor. Now, typically, I'm only going to use this if I'm going to be sitting and doing meditation for more than 15 minutes, more than 30 minutes. If I'm only going to be sitting 10 minutes, 5 minutes, I don't need all this. I mean, honestly, all we need is our bodies in a place, right? Bottom line, that's all we need. This extra is just comfort until your brain is able to, and your mind, to control the body. Because how often have you got in a place to do meditation and you're like, oh, my nose itches. Oh, my hair's tickly. All these sensations. Well, eventually as you train, none of that bothers you, so none of this will matter really either. If you don't have any of that stuff at home, but you do because you're achy, need a little something, there's that third blanket. All right. You can take your block, your blanket, kind of put it over the block, and sit like this. This will absolutely get you through your meditation. It gives you this ability to open through here for good circulation so your legs don't go to sleep. It helps remind to keep you up straight, and it'll be fine for your practice. So we're getting ready for Shavasana, right? And so in this Shavasana, what are we going to do to make ourselves comfortable? Good morning, Kelly. That makes me so happy. Good morning, Carrie. Happy Mother's Day to you guys. So what are some other options that you have when you get ready for Shavasana if you want to feel great? Eye pillows. Now this particular eye pillow is from that same store that this Carolina Morning is from. So I can take these little pillowcases off and on and wash them. This one is got buckwheat in it and lavender so that you can smell the lavender while it's on your eyes. So we're going to prep for Shavasana. I'm going to show you my most favorite way to use bolsters for Shavasana. I like to use this when I have my maternity classes. We have that prenatal yoga is really awesome. You're going to take your round bolster, push it like this. You're going to take a block and place it here. Then you're going to take another bolster and put it like this. And we have this. We have this. Where did the towel go? There's the towel. Here's the towel. Now, keep in mind, there are so many more props. These are just a smattering of what I have in my studio. There are rope walls where there's walls that have ropes on them so that you can put blankets on them and hang in postures for long periods of time so that they hold you elevated so that you can elongate and stretch. There's all kinds of things. But bottom line, the only prop you need is this one, right? You just need to practice. That's the most important part. The rest of this is it's just stuff. It makes us happy, right? So we've got this, I call it my yoga lazy boy. We're going to put the back of those hips together, slowly roll back. Feels pretty good, right? You want more? You can put something under your neck, right? If you want more, you can put eye pillow. If you need more, however much more you want, you can make it. But ultimately, you need to be comfortable. You need to be able to surrender and release. Holy smokes, this is awesome. I know this has a lot of props, but it feels amazing. I really wanted us to do more postures today, but we had so many props to go through. We had a good time, and I love the feedback. So I don't know if you decided to lay down at home or not, if you're just sitting and watching me be comfortable. But whatever it is that you're doing, let's see if we can meet together somewhere so that we can end the practice together. It was more workshop than practice today. So slowly, if you are laying down, you're going to make your way to your side and then to a seated position. Just depends on what you're doing at your home. Maybe you were still watching, maybe you're taking notes. Maybe you had some props that you wanted to try. I like to sit on these flat ones. And we're just going to breathe. And that was so much information, but we got to sit and we got to chat together this morning. We shared the Mother's Day. We shared our Scholarly Sunday. We have a little more understanding of props in our bodies and the fun that we can have. That we're only limited by our imagination. Nice full breath. And bring those hands to the heart. We're going to remind ourselves of all the amazing things we have in our life to be thankful for. You're going to send out love and kindness and compassion to others. Ending the practice today with an Om. Inhaling. Om. Bowing forward, namaste. Peace be with you. Go safely. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you practicing with me every day at 9. I try to give you diversity. I try to be authentic. I try to just show up for my own life so I can help you show up for yours. Thank you for all the big hugs that I keep getting online. They make me so happy. I can't wait till I can give you guys real big hugs in the person. I love you from my house to your house. Happy Mother's Day for those of you who are celebrating. Information for donations is down below. If you liked it, like it. Share it with your friends or family or somebody you might think that it's interesting. And you can always direct them to my YouTube channel, where if you go there and subscribe, you'll be notified anytime I put up new videos. I love you big, 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 big. Enjoy your Sunday.